Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Kanhucharan Patro, neuroradiation oncologist. I will discuss about the pituitary adenoma imaging and pituitary tumors. So in this 10 minutes presentation, I will tell about the anatomy, preferred imaging, intracellular extension, paracellular extension, supracellular extension, micro versus macroadenoma, typical versus atypical, and apoplexy. So how to identify normal pituitary and how it looks. It is a oval shaped, lies in the sella turcica. Laterally, it is bounded by the cavernous sinus, well visible in with contrast. It is just inferior to in brain and connected to through hypothalamus by pituitary stalk. The borders of the pituitary gland can be identified best in the sagittal view. Alternatively, the inner part of the sella turcica can be used as a surrogate for anatomical bone structure. You can best identify using bone 1500 by 950 window width and level, soft tissue 350 by 50 window width, window level is 1500, window width 950, soft tissue 350 is window level and window width 50. So if you see, this is the pituitary stalk here, very nicely seen in the sagittal section. This is optic chiasm, this is optic chiasm, and this is the pituitary gland, this is sphenoid sinus, this is clivus. So this is the pituitary fossa. Let's see one again. Identify neighboring structures. How to identify the neighboring structures? So if you see, you can evident here, this is the anterior pituitary, this is pars posterior pituitary, this is sella turcica, this is sphenoid sinus, this is the dorsum sella turcica, and this is the infundibulum. This is the third ventricle, and this is the optic chiasm. Let's see. Anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary, infundibulum, and optic chiasm. So if you see, the posterior pituitary usually hyperintense and comparing to the anterior pituitary. And if you see, if you give contrast, the whole pituitary enhance, but posterior pituitary is more brighter and infundibulum is more brighter comparing to the other part. And this is the optic chiasm. If you see, this is the contrast enhanced optic pituitary gland, this is the sphenoid sinus, this is the pituitary gland, this is the pituitary stalk, this is the optic chiasm. Again, let's see optic chiasm, infundibulum, this is the anterior pituitary, this is the posterior pituitary. Let's see again, this is the anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary, pars intermedia, pars tuberalis, optic chiasm, median eminence, sella turcica, and this is the hypothalamus, and this is the optic chiasm. Again, you can see same thing, just I am telling hypothalamus, optic chiasm, posterior pituitary, anterior pituitary, pars tuberalis, hypophyseal fossa, and this is sphenoid bone. This is, we can see here again, pituitary stalk in coronal section. This is the cavernous sinus, this is the internal carotid artery, this is the optic chiasm. You can see here, this is the T, you can T rod, you can see the optic chiasm here. This is the optic infundibular stalk or pituitary stalk. This is a pituitary gland, sphenoid sinus. So you can see the T here. This is the cavernous sinus again. This is internal carotid artery, sphenoid sinus, pituitary gland, infundibulum, and optic chiasm. Pituitary, sphenoid sinus, supraoptic recess, optic chiasm, infundibulum, and this is infundibular recess, supraoptic recess, infundibular recess. So identifying the optic chiasm. How to identify optic chiasm? It is a star-shaped structure. It is a around 14 mm, 18 mm, and 2.5 mm thickness, located 1 centimeter superior above to the posterior pituitary gland. High signal on T1 just anterior to the pituitary stalk, located above the sella turcica. So above the sella turcica, 1 centimeter superior to the pituitary gland, and lateral border surrounded by the internal carotid artery, anterior-inferior part of the third ventricle, below the supraoptic recess, above the infundibular recess of the third ventricle. with the optic nerves in front and divergence of the optic tracts behind. The anterior cerebral arteries and the anterior communicant located ventral to the chiasm. So you can see these are the optic nerves, chiasm, these are optic tracts. You can see here optic nerve, optic chiasm star shaped, and these are the optic tracts. So you can see here, this is the optic chiasm. This is the vertical distance. When you are planning for stereotactic radiosurgery, you have to see the distance between the optic chiasm and optic pituitary or lesion. So at least there is a 3 mm difference will be there. This is the vertical distance. This is the infundibulum stalk, pituitary, and this is the optic chiasm, infundibulum, and pituitary. So let's see how to understand the anatomy of the optic chiasm. See, you can see here, this is the star shaped optic chiasm. This is the optic nerve, optic chiasm, optic tract. So you can see optic nerve, optic chiasm, optic tract. Then this is infundibulum, the pituitary stalk. You can see in ventral part anterior cerebral artery. You can see the anterior cerebral artery. This is the third ventricle, and this is the hypothalamus. And this is the attachment of pituitary stalk. You can see here posterior communicating artery here, posterior communicating artery, and this is the internal carotid artery. Internal carotid artery and posterior communicating artery from the boundary of lateral boundary. Anteriorly, the anterior cerebral artery, and this is the third ventricle. This is the anterior attachment of pituitary stalk. Then this is the oculomotor nerve, and this is the posterior communicating artery. This is the superior cerebellar artery, and this is posterior communicating artery and internal carotid artery. Is very nicely explained. Thank you for this website. And this is the optic chiasm, optic tract, optic nerve. Hope you will never forget in this situation. Now, pituitary adenoma, the most common is the cellular pathology. Macroadenoma more than 1 centimeter, microadenoma less than 1 centimeter, hypointense to the normal pituitary in T1 images. Microadenomas only become evident after gadolinium. Macroadenomas may enlarge the cella, compress the chiasm, involve the cavernous sinus. So what is the preferred imaging? Anything we have to take contrast-CT beam or 3 mm or less. If you are going for MRI, you should come for the contrast MRI beam 3 mm or less than 1 mm for optic chiasm and on other organs at risk. Generally, 3D FSPGR contrast is useful for the optic chiasm and other structures. If there is a post of images, packing material, then you have to take star sequence, PET star sequence to differentiate between the packing material and residual pituitary. Optic chiasm identification, you can do FSPGR sequence or C-SIR sequence. Cavernous sign differentiation, whether pituitary tumor is adherent to the cavernous sign or involved in the cavernous signs, you have to take a T2 and FLIR images. So in general principle, coronal plane offers the best single view for assessing the cella, allow the pituitary gland to be distinguished from the surrounding structures. Sagittal viewers particularly help for the evaluating midline structures because the pituitary gland is small and high spatial resolution images are required. Fat saturation techniques are used for post-op evaluation. Imaging characteristics of the adenoma. So if you see it is a normal pituitary, you can anterior pituitary, posterior pituitary is slightly hyperintense. If you give gadolinium, both anterior pituitary and posterior pituitary hyperintense, but relative anterior posterior pituitary is relatively more enhancing than anterior pituitary. Pituitary microadenoma in plain sequence, T1 sequence, the side on microadenomas is hypo, and even in contrast, it looks bit hypo compared to the other pituitary. There is a well-defined, here is a macroadenoma, you can see here, and this is the big lesion with supracellular extension. You can see here supradumble shaped supracellular extension, and pituitary fossa suggestive of pituitary adenoma and how it enhances in the contrast. Sometimes we need a delayed image to understand the imaging more than 30 minutes after intravenous contrast also help to detect microadenomas, which then appears as a focal hyperintense lesion related to the surrounding gland. FET-based surgical defects appear hyperintension T1 peptide sequence requires the use of FET saturated sequences and to distinguish contrastation from the packing material. So for microadenomas, if you want to see, take a 30-minute delay after contrast injection. So most of the tumors like ACTH, thyroid stimulating hormones, LH, FSH hormones centrally in the pituitary gland, but prolactin and growth hormone occurs in the periphery of the pituitary gland. Another thing, very important thing, you have to find out the cavernous sinus. If you give contrast, you can see the cavernous sinus both side and how it is enhances. But how will you differentiate from the pituitary invasion to the cavernous sinus? So you can see here, this is the cavernous sinus in it is two cavernous sinuses involvement. This is the pituitary. Whether how to differentiate whether it is involved or not. So we need a T1, T2 and T2 player. So if you see in the cornal vein also, these are the cavernous sinuses. This is the suprasellar extension, and this is the you cannot differentiate. You can difference slightly. You can differentiate it. There is a loss of flat plane here in the right side, but flat plane maintained in the left side. So when you take T2 player, it will give you proper imaging to differentiate the cavernous sinus involvement. So any vessel in the T2 player, is a dark. So in this, it is not dark. There is a cavernous sinus involvement, that pituitary gland is involved in the T2 player. In same thing in T2 also, you can see here there is a cavernous sinus involvement. Here no cavernous sinus involvement in left side, but right side there is a involvement. T2 packing material. So again, T2 star sequence and FET sequence you have to take. So you differentiate the normal pituitary from the packing material. You can see the brightly enhancing packing material. Again, cavernous sinus involvement, right cavernous sinus involvement. Here bilateral cavernous sinus involvement you can see here. And this is C, it is touching pressurizing the optic chiasm, you can see here. And so suprasellar extension you can divide into grade 0, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. Grade 0 no suprasellar extension, just bulging, not involving the optic chiasm, just touching the optic chiasm is a grade 2. Displacing the optic chiasm is grade 3, and compressing optic chiasm is so it is when goes to the third ventricle. This is the grade 4 and foramen Monro block. So if you see, this is the cavernous sinus here, involvement both side, and there is a suprasellar extension. It is optic chiasm compressor. So if you see, it is a grade 3 and going to be a grade 4 suprasellar extension. So this is a extensive suprasellar extension. It is a type of more big growth. This is blocking the third ventricle. Another sinus, cavernous sinus involvement, there is a NOSP classification. You have to put a line on the medial tangent of the cavernous sinus, on the middle and the lateral tangent. 3 tangents you have to put in the cavernous sinus. If it is grade 0, it is not touching. Grade 1 touching the medial line. Grade 2 touching the intracarotid line, so middle line, and grade 3 is crossing the lateral margin and the internal carotid artery, and total encased on the intracavernous sinus, and beyond that is the grade 4. So this is the cavernous sinus involvement grading by parasellar extension. This parasellar extension you can see here is a grade, if you can see it is, you can call it a grade 4 involvement parasellar extension. Another is intracellular extension. You can 3 grades. Grade 0, intact the floor of cella, focal bulging in the adenoma into the as a sign of proposing the dura of the floor of the cella, and tumor perforation into the sphenoid sinus and going downwards. It can hang. You may see in the hanging in extra hanging from the leg bell. It is a grade 2. So another thing I am going to tell is the apoplexy. Apoplexy, you can see here hemorrhage inside the pituitary gland, either stuck cut off the pituitary supply a blood supply to the pituitary, or there is an hemorrhage, patient with acute presentation loss, vision problems, and there is a hormonal problems, patient will acutely present, so that needs evaluation. Thank you for watching. Hope you liked my video. If you are liking, please comment and share, and subscribe my channel. Whenever there is new video, you will get alert. Thank you very much.